Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Vibe Podcast, everyone. I am your host, Aid. If you don't know me, hello. It's nice to meet you. I have been raving for almost 10 years now, a whole decade, and I have been creating content for the rave and festival community since 2017, which is almost getting close to a decade, 8 years just about. And I have been doing, helpful guides, tips, how to have the best experience no matter what festival you're going to, whether it's EDC, Coachella, everything in between. And I am also a life coach, and I am your host of Let's Vibe Podcast. And this is really a podcast where we can jam and talk about rave and festival experiences from a transformational and healing place. That is what I have rebranded this podcast really as, is a place where we can come and jam and vibe on these topics that have really become important to me, because yes, I can help you feel prepared for your next festival, tell you what hydration pack, earplugs, all the things that you might need. But where I feel really called as my mission is really helping ravers and festival goers live a beautiful life on and off the dance floor. And that is what we're getting into in today's topic, where I really wanted to talk about escapism with festivals and how you might be utilizing these spaces for escapism, whether you're escaping something in your life, you're running away from something in your life. And this podcast episode is going to come with a lot of love, a lot of compassion, because I have been exactly where some of you people have been, and where a lot of our community currently is, where we are utilizing these spaces to escape whatever we're dealing with in our life. And I have definitely been there more times than once. And I really wanted to just open up the conversation really about it, and to also kind of share what has really helped me to really start to live my life like it's a music festival, which some of you might not quite understand what that really looks like, because it's like I'm not waking up and putting on a wristband and candy and like going into a festival every day, but rather I wake up and I choose to live with these pieces of our festival culture in my day-to-day that allows me to feel really aligned and really fulfilled, even if I'm not going to a rave or going to a festival. And so that's what we're really diving into. And there's going to be a really exciting announcement towards the end of this that I hope you stick around for. And I hope you take what resonates from this episode. And I hope it provides maybe some inspiration, some empowerment, and there will be an invitation for you that if it feels really aligned for you, I would love to invite you into. It's something that I have had in the back of my head for a very long time. It's something that I have had as a part of my coaching business that I'm now bringing to you guys as a very accessible way to come into my community. And I'll leave you there on the edge of your seat for that. But listen towards the end of the episode for this really exciting announcement and invitation. And it relates to today's topic because I know this all too well. I have been there where I was using festivals and raves and going out and the weekend to really escape whatever was going on in my life. I can pinpoint a couple of times where this was happening. In college, I was always out. I was, at Arizona State, which like some of you might be like, oh, big party school. Yep, it was in fact a big party school. I could provide a testimony to that, where I was going out, enjoying my senior year of college. I was going out 5-6 times a week, and I had just discovered kind of the rave scene, and we were going to festivals. We went to Beyond Wonderland, we went to Coachella, we went to EDC, and I was utilizing these spaces to kind of like escape the pending like adulting, right, that was coming. And even when I moved to Austin, Texas, I was looking forward to the next festival, looking forward to the next show. I think I went to a lot of festivals when I first moved to Austin. I went to Austin City Limits. I went to Something Wicked. I even went back home to Arizona to go to Gold Rush. And then there was like Decadence Arizona, right? And even when I was like looking through my camera roll, I would see Snapchat photos of me that I had saved where it was like one more day until Wicked or one more day until this. Like I was consistently living for the weekends and living for the next festival. And if you relate to that, I totally see you. And that is why I said this episode is just going to be filled with love and compassion, because I have been exactly where you guys are. And I do feel like there is this escapism problem with the rave community because, life is hard. Like we're all just going through this like cycle of life, right? Where you go to school, you go to college, or maybe you don't go to college, you graduate, you get put into the workforce, you're struggling to find a job. Maybe you're in a job and you are in maybe like a toxic situation. You hate your job. It's not aligned. It's not what you want to be doing. And all you maybe have to look forward to are these raves and festivals. Or maybe you're also in a position where you can't even afford to go to these things anymore. So you're going to like smaller little things, and that's all you really have to look forward to. And I totally get it, because also there's just like the economy and the political climate and like all these things that are going on. We're so bombarded with the news and all of these things. And so it's like, if we can just go to this rave or this festival, right, and just unplug for a weekend and just escape for a weekend, isn't that so nice, right? And it is, right? We go to these spaces and we have the best time. We hear amazing music. We connect with our friends. We make core memories with our friends. We make new friends. We feel hot and amazing in our outfits and feel so good and feel like we can be ourselves. We can express ourselves. We feel more authentically ourselves, whatever it may be, right? And you are on such a high, but then the weekend ends or the show ends and there's that crash, right? Or there's that like pending doom or pending anxiety, or like Sunday scaries, post-festival scaries, where we're just like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go back to life. Do I have to do it? And, maybe comes with a few tears, some crash outs, some breakdowns, right? Where you just are not feeling like you want to go back to this, right? You experience such incredible magic and moments and happiness and fulfillment and alignment and synchronicities and all these things that you don't feel in your life, and you want to just like live in this little world forever. Does that sound right? Because I've been there 100%. There are so many times where I'm like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Like literally dreading having to go back to work, a job that I didn't love, and having to go back to figuring this life out, right? And like I had that same kind of like autopilot hamster wheel feeling of like, is life really just like wake up, work out, clock in, clock out, Netflix, go to bed, repeat? Like I was just like, is this really it? Like, is this what we signed up for? Like, is this all there is to life? And even like questioning like my parents, like, is this what they just did, and they just did it, like they just did it with no questions, no problem, like nothing. They just did it. And I was just like, I just don't see this for my life. Like, I just don't. And I knew I was kind of like meant for more, but just didn't know what that quite looked like, right? And I feel like we tend to crave these experiences and the next festival, the next show, whatever, right? To just keep like reminding ourselves of these feelings and that, we can't experience these things and whatnot, because we're also missing like a fulfillment within ourselves and within our life, but we feel that on a dance floor. And so I really started to just like ask myself, it's like, man, I only go to X amount of festivals out of the year, right? Where it's like 2 or 3 days out of the year, going multiple times a year, maybe if I'm lucky, right? Let's say I go to 3 festivals a year. They're 2 to 3 days each, depending, right? That's only 9 days out of the year that I'm just on this high and feeling so amazing. Like, is that what life was really meant to be like, And of course I enjoyed other days, right? Like my birthday, holidays, like stuff like that, right? But again, living for the weekend even too. And so I really just was like, how can I really start to just enjoy my day to day, right? And how can I really just feel what I feel in these spaces at festivals and raves and like on the dance floor, how can I like wake up and just feel excited about my day? Like, how can I create that, you know? And I really started to like question kind of a lot of that. And this was around the time where I started Vibe with Aid. I started my brand. I started posting on Instagram. I started creating blog content. I built a website. I started a YouTube channel, and I just started putting content out there for festival tips. And I feel like that gave me some type of purpose and direction where it's like, okay, I can at least look forward to this, even if I'm not looking forward to my 9 to 5. And slowly but surely it was like, okay, I had that to look forward to. I was still working out, wasn't really making progress in my fitness journey, but I was still doing it. I was in the habit of doing it. And I was just really searching for kind of like more of that fulfillment. And then the festivals kind of gave me more purpose because it was like, okay, I'm going to these festivals so that I can create content and help other people have really great experiences. They'll know what to wear. They'll know what to bring. They'll know what to expect. They'll know what artists I recommend. And I feel like that kind of helped give me some purpose and direction for quite a little bit, honestly. Having that kind of content creator journey beginning back in 2017, I think really just helped me in that sense that I had a purpose almost, right? And I still felt like I was then utilizing that for, you know, research, but still kind of was escaping because I still wasn't happy in, my job. I was in a relationship back then that was like pretty questionable, to be honest. No, like hate to him, but that was definitely one of those relationships I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was in a relationship that I thought was a loving and supportive relationship. It was good for me to be in. And then, we ended up breaking up beginning of 2020. And I feel like that's kind of like, I had been dabbling in personal development and trying to like be on this search for what a fulfilling life really looked like. So that way I could enjoy these festival experiences, but also start to enjoy my life too. And then that breakup kind of like kick-started a lot of that self-love and healing journey because I just felt like I wasn't really enough here. And I think that's where, 2020, we all know. I think the final festival I went to was Crossed Music Festival. And that was my final little like kind of escape festival because it was like, who knew what was going to happen at that point? Like we were hearing festivals getting canceled or like, travel kind of like getting shut down and all this stuff. And so we really lived it up, that Cross Music Festival experience. And that was the last festival I went to for a good little bit because then the pandemic happened. And I feel like this really awoken something in me by having to quarantine and having festivals taken away from me where it was like, okay, there's nowhere to escape now, there's nowhere to escape. And so I really dove into my life of like, okay, how can I wake up and just be so present because we have no idea what's going to happen with this pandemic. How can I be so present? How can I pour into me? How can I take care of me? And I feel like that's what really shifted me out of this escapism because I had nowhere to go but to confront these things. Of course, we started to have like, the live stream parties and like I was still drinking at this point and all that kind of stuff, right? But I really started to see a shift in this escapism because I had nowhere to escape to, right? And so if you're listening to this and you're like wondering, I'm in this point of like escaping and I'm going to these events and having a really great time, but then dreading coming home, because right, we're back live, like events are all back, festivals are all back. We're in this flow. That was 5 years ago, which is so crazy to think about. But if you're listening to this and you're just like, yeah, like this is exactly kind of where I'm at. How do we really shift out of this? And, some of the building blocks that I started to create all started in 2020 where I was like, all right, like time to slowly but surely start to kind of build the life I want without festivals. And then whenever they come back, like, great, that's how that, like, I can just bloop, like pop them back in, and that is where, like, before I didn't have a term for it, but that is what, like, my life is a festival mentality and lifestyle and framework is really all about. Some of you guys might have heard me talk about this, but it's truly just being able to enjoy your life on and off the dance floor. It's being able to create a life that feels just like a festival, where you feel these feelings of connection and happiness and fulfillment and love and all these beautiful things that you feel out on the dance floor, and like integrating them into your life. And I feel like that's where in 2020, I started to really build that. I started focusing on different areas of my life. I was focusing on, my routines, my habits, my workout routine, and what I was eating and taking care of myself. And then I was also like still doing the content creation with Vibe with Aid. And then I was like getting into DJing. I was doing shuffling. Like I was doing all these things. And also working the 9-to-5 that like still was not fulfilling me at all. But, I was able to work from home, and I was able to save money by not going to festivals, and I was able to kind of like stockpile these things. And I feel like by having that time to be so present in 2020, I just had no choice but to kind of like ask myself, like, what would really fulfill me? What is my purpose? I had cultivated a community by then with Vibe with Aid. It'd been about 3 years, and I think I was at like 10K followers maybe on Instagram, and then I was still kind of growing on YouTube, and TikTok had just come out, so I started growing a TikTok following. And so I was kind of like piecing these things together and kind of figuring out, okay, what is that next step for me? And then 2020, I ended up quitting my 9-to-5. I started a life coaching business to really help ravers and festival goers, because I kind of felt like, my whole life I've really been my own personal development project, and trying out all these things of like habits and routines. And like, I feel like I know what my purpose is of really helping people. Let me help other people. So I was a purpose coach at first, and then I really shifted out of that to become more life, because I feel like I was good at the habits and routines. I was good at goal setting. I was good at mindset stuff. So that's kind of like what really shifted for me. But working for myself gave me like a whole new sense of purpose and fulfillment. And I was being able to wake up and like have a morning routine where I was able to be very intentional with journaling and reading and meditating, and then working out, and then logging in and doing work and getting clients and like all these wonderful things. And then festivals came back, right? Like I had all these pieces of these building blocks of like my life that I had created. I was working for myself, doing content creation, freelancing, coaching. I was in a relationship with a new person that I had like attracted and thought that was the aligned person for me at the time. Not so much now, but I had, the relationship. I had my career and my purpose and path kind of figured out. I had friendships. I also moved into a new apartment and was living by myself finally, which was a goal of mine. And then, was having like content creation, brand deals, all that kind of stuff even too. And I'm trying to think if there was other things. I had like all these building blocks. Oh, obviously like the health and wellness aspect, getting into really good shape, having finances, having like things like really stockpiled because we had no festivals. So when festivals came back, obviously here in Texas, things were a little different in the COVID era, but Ubby Dubby was the first festival back in 2021. And it just like was like that. Like it just popped right in back into my life. And I didn't feel that escapism feeling anymore. I started to just feel like, wow, I had an amazing time at Ubby Dubby. I missed these festivals. I missed these spaces. And now I get to go back to my life and keep working and keep building. It was like almost like a culmination and celebration. That was basically like a year apart, because it was March of 2020 when I went to Crossed, when a whole year without festivals, right? And then April of 2021 was Ubby Dubby. And it was this feeling of like, wow, like that was so amazing. I'm so happy festivals are back. I just had the best time. I got to vlog it. I got to have a good time. And now I get to go back to my life and like, let's keep building. Let's keep working. What's the next thing? What am I working on next in my business? What am I doing? Right? So it was really interesting to see this at play, because this is what Life as a Festival was really about. It was like utilizing festivals as celebrations and expansion rather than escapism. So fast forwarding and kind of time jumping, because we've gone on a whole journey since then. We've gone to many more festivals. We've had ego deaths. We've had breakups. We have gone back to a 9-to-5. We have done so many things since then. We've had so many healing eras and all the things, right? That was a period of my time from 2021 to 2023 where I was like really working for myself. I was trying to figure it out. 2022, I really lost steam basically and started to really doubt myself, which there was other factors at play. And I was still going to these festivals and I was making the most out of them. Wouldn't say I was really still kind of like escaping in them, but I was really utilizing them to heal and to like kind of remind myself of who I was. And that's where like these festival experiences just started to have like a deeper meaning to them for me, because I was going through that time and I was trying to not go back to the escapism, right? And I was kind of in this like problem solving solution mode. Until 2023, where I went through, breakup with my ex, and that was a whole thing. I ended up going back to a 9-to-5, and then 2024 was really just like a recalibration, resetting, reminding myself who I was, and being able to call in the life that I really have now, where I am just so aligned, so fulfilled, and being able to utilize these festivals as a way for me to up level and quantum leap and glow up and all of these things, and not having the Sunday scaries, the festival scaries, and all of these things. And I share my own personal testimony and journey because I live by the fact that if I can do it and other people can do it, it is so possible for you. If you can start comparing your journey to others as a form of they've done it, so I can do it too, rather than comparing it from a place of bitterness or resentment or jealousy, right? I used to be the type where I would look at other people and I'm like, dang, must be nice, like that kind of feeling. But then I switched it and I was like, if she can do it, that means I can too. And I want you to know that if you're listening to this and you have fallen into that escapism problem, you can very much shift out of that. And it just comes with being intentional. It comes with having a roadmap. It comes with taking action and being very devoted and dedicated day in and day out to creating that life that feels so good and to being the best possible version of yourself. I feel like that is what I have strived for every single day, is just to do the best that I can to take care and nurture myself, and then continuously make progress towards the life that I want, even if it doesn't look like I am full throttle going at 100% every single day. Some days it's like, okay, we just took a little baby step today, Other days we're just existing. And then there's also other times where I'm simply just enjoying the life that I've created. I feel like earlier this year, leading up to my 30th birthday, I just wanted to enjoy the life that I created, because it took a very long, hard road to get there. Like, I had really been in, excuse my language, the fucking trenches. So I really just wanted to enjoy the first part of my year. And now after my 30th birthday, I'm like, all right, it's time to lock in, and that is kind of like where you can really shift into in your journey, right? But there's gonna be a point where you kind of have to put your big girl pants on, your big boy pants on, and say, all right, I'm so unhappy. I'm so unfulfilled. I don't want to keep escaping. I don't want to keep waiting for the next festival or waiting for the next weekend to live the life that I truly want. What am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about being unhappy at my job? What am I going to do about being unhappy in this relationship? What am I going to do about being unhappy in this friendship? What am I going to do about having a poor relationship with my parents, right? What am I going to do about not following through on these goals I have, whether it's going to the gym, starting to create content, start making moves on going back to school or getting a certification. You keep saying you want to do these things, but then you're like, I don't know how to do it, right? Or you're saying, I'm scared to do it. I'm scared to leave the relationship. I'm scared to quit that job. I don't know what's next, right? And I totally see that, right? I didn't leave my relationships. I got broken up with twice, But after that, I was like, all right, what am I going to do about this, right? And you have to get to that point where you are just so sick and tired of your own shit, and you're so sick and tired of getting in your own way. You're so sick and tired of not following through, that on the other side of that, it's like, all right, I got to do something about this, right? Like, this is not how life is meant to be lived. And you know that you are meant for more. I know that you are meant for more, and you are so deserving of what more looks like. You deserve to feel good. Like how I feel sitting here right now, having a new job that I'm so excited to be starting, being in the relationship I've always dreamed of, that honestly shocks me and heals me every single day, having the friendships that I do all across the country and, my people here in Austin, having a community of people online that, I create content for and really serve and support in my coaching business, or just by the content, just by me showing up every day. Like, 22-year-old me would be shook by this life that I live. And the fact that I'm also sober too, which by the way, I'm going to do an episode about that. I'm back to no drinking, but I'm sober. I'm not drinking. I am fully authentically me, and I am loved and supported and accepted for that. And it's by the people who get me and who are aligned with me. It's not everyone. And I've released that. It's okay to not be loved and liked by everyone, and that's okay, right? But it's just so crazy to be sitting here today to tell you that it's so possible to look forward to your next festival, but as a form of celebration and not as a form of escapism. And I think when we also examine this, you can also examine your relationship to the things you are utilizing at these events and festivals to help you escape. You can really reevaluate that relationship as well if you catch my drift of these things that you might be partaking in, and also be able to remove that from that experience and see how much really shifts and opens up for you in these experiences by not relying on them and no longer escaping, and utilizing them as a way to celebrate and really enjoy, who you are and the things that you've been working on in your life, and utilizing the dance floor to celebrate that. That is what life as a festival is really all about. And then at the end of the event, at the end of the festival, there's no hard crash. You really get to be like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I am so grateful for this experience. And now I get to go back to my life and keep this going, keep this train going. I get to go back and get back into my routines and keep deepening my relationship and my friendships and keep working towards that next goal, even if it's not fully figured out. And just keep enjoying my life, because we deserve to enjoy that 365 days. Not all 365 days are going to be perfect. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be curveballs. There's going to be things that are thrown your way. There's going to be tests. There's going to be people that leave, that pass away. There's going to be heartbreaks. There's going to be sadness. But wouldn't it feel so good to just try to enjoy as much of this life as possible, and not just the events and festivals you go to, right? Like, what if you just turned up and multiplied that energy that you feel at these events and radiate it throughout your day? And that's what I want you to understand, is that it's so possible. I feel like I went on a whole soapbox moment there. Hi, we're back here. Sometimes things, like when you're locked in and channeling and whatever, like the woo-woo, my coaching spiritual people know, things just start coming out. But it is because I am really, truly so passionate about this, because when I look back and see like the steps I've taken to get here, it's kind of like, whoa, like I did that, you know? And like I said, 22-year-old me, 18-year-old me would just be like in awe. And I think they're so proud of me because they were there when they had no clue what was going on. They had no clue what life was going to look like. 18-year-old Aid just wanted to work in the music industry somehow. So I think she would be absolutely stunned that it's electronic music and it's festivals. But I think she would think it's really cool. 22-year-old Aid would be also stunned, but in the most exciting way possible. She'd be like, you've worked with all these festivals, you've gotten free tickets to these things, you've met these artists, like what? You know, like she would just be in awe as well and would think I'm so cool, you know, which I think is very healing to think about. But I think it's just, you know, at the end of the day, you're so deserving to have the life you want, and you're so deserving to feel happy and to feel fulfilled and to feel aligned. And it doesn't mean these like crazy things need to be done in your life. Like you could even just choose to want to wake up and feel excited, or wake up and feel peace, and to not be in this survival mode anymore. And to just really be able to wake up with intention, wake up with a purpose. Like, I'm not saying you need to quit your job and build like a $1 million company and be able to travel all over the world or become like the next Alex Earl. Like it really can just be about waking up and just living and just enjoying it, right? Maybe even having just a simple life, you know, with your favorite people in it, and working towards something that excites you or you're passionate about or you're challenged by. Even if you don't love your 9 to 5, having something outside of that, a hobby or a passion or whatever, right? Like it can look so different. What my life as a festival looks like can be so different than what yours looks like. But the whole goal is to just really be able to take you out of that surviving, right? And really feel like you can have it all. I started believing that I could do it all and I could have it all. And, you know, life started reflecting that back to me, because I was really questioning. I'm like, can I really have, you know, the workout routine, the finances, the boyfriend, the friendships, the social life, time for myself, the 9 to 5, like, could I really hold it all and do it all? And as I've been coming out of that sickness portal that I went through, like, I'm starting to see like, yes, you can, you're capable. And like all of us are capable in doing it and being able to hold it and being able to, you know, be able to be getting to be like being able to start to create that. And it's definitely going to come with time, right? Like it's been 5 years since 2020 where I feel like I really started building this thing brick by brick, you know, but I probably could guide you in about half the time, because I went through a lot of trial and error and I went through a lot of things there. But it's really just like about getting to a point where you stop surviving between these festivals and you're really able to just start living your whole life like it's a celebration, where it's just filled with freedom, purpose, alignment, expansion, and really getting to be the person that has it all, to the point where you don't even need to compare your life to anyone else's, unless you see someone else's life and you're like, wow, they're doing that, I'm so happy for them. That means that I could also do it too. Oh my God, a bird I think is trying to get in my apartment. Sorry. It like flew really close to my door and I'm like, are you trying to get in here? I'm like Snow White or something. And so I've gone on my whole spiel about, you know, this whole escapism thing and how we want to shift from escapism into expansion. We want to be able to glow up. We want to feel good in our day to day, and you're so deserving of that. So like, how are you going to do it? Right? Aid, what is this life as a festival thing, right? There's some components to it, right? And these are the foundations of my coaching, my teaching, but I'm going to share with you some initial next steps for you to really get into, to be able to start to tap into this energy, right? And where I always start with any coaching client, anyone I work with, number one is going to be the vision. To start to just get like really dreamy about the vision for your life. What would your most vibrant, aligned, fulfilling, exciting life look like for you? What are the components of that? What would your career look like? I have an area of life audit that I talk about where you literally break it down, each area of your life, your career, your relationship, your friendships, your social life, your finances. Like, start to just like think about that. What would this life that feels so good, so nourishing, where you feel good, you feel free, you feel loved, you feel supported, like what would that life really look like? And maybe some of you guys have already like thought about this. Maybe you vision boarded it and you have a vision board that you look at every day and you're like, man, that seems so nice, but like, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, right? We start there with the vision and really getting clear on what this life really looks like, because then we have a roadmap to really get to. And then you really ask yourself, like, who is the person that has that life? I do a lot of identity-based work in my coaching because we really want to examine who is that person that has this life and begin to embody it. And it almost feels like, I'm not this person, right? But this person's already within you, right? So it's about pulling it out, pulling these characteristics, these traits, these habits, the way they think, and starting to live from that place. If you just did those two things and had the vision of where you want your life to get to and started showing up as that person that has that life, I guarantee you would already start to see some things start to change, right? And asking yourself, like, what does this look like with festivals also in here as well, right? Of still being able to go to festivals, because I absolutely believe you can create the life you want and you don't need to give up raves and festivals to do it, because I didn't. My mom tried to get me to not go anymore and I was like, nope, like I'm still going to go. Sorry. And then we shift into the mindset, because I'm sure as I'm talking through some of these things, you guys are probably thinking like, but I can't do that. What would people think? Like, this is hard. The job market's tough. Like, it's hard to get a new job. Like, those are all beliefs that are designed to keep you from taking that next step. So we want to examine what that mindset is really looking like and start to really shift it into a more supportive mindset. So that way it's no longer keeping you from creating this life, because our mind is the number one thing that is going to keep us from taking action on things. It's going to keep us stuck. It's going to keep us in this paralysis almost. And so we want to examine how our mind is. And that's kind of like the process I really went through as I was creating this life, because I was like, okay, what do I want this life to look like? And writing it down, creating these vision boards. Then I was like, okay, who have I been really being, right? And how do I want to start showing up? Like, what does that person do? How do they dress? How do they act, right? And then really working to rewire the beliefs and the doubts that were coming up in my capabilities in doing it, right? I worked a lot on my own self-love, which is all really like a lot of that mindset work of believing that I was good enough and that I was capable. And then started to work on like the next set of beliefs of like, you know, believing that I could be a coach and be an entrepreneur and be a content creator and grow my brands and business and all that stuff, right? So we want to then tackle the mindset and start to adopt a more supportive mindset that it's not necessarily being more positive and just being toxic positive. It's just choosing to believe differently and choosing to lower the volume of that little voice in your head. Then from there, we're able to work on the goals and habits and taking action. This could be a whole podcast episode. It's a whole course even, because I teach on habits. Then you start to like think about, okay, how am I showing up day after day? How do I want to show up day after day? How am I taking action? What's keeping me from taking action? How am I being organized with my day? How am I waking up? Am I picking up my phone right away? You know, what are the habits I have in my morning routine and nighttime routine, and the daily, weekly actions that I'm taking to support creating this vision, right? And so that's where the fun really begins, because what you are doing every single day is casting a vote for that future vision that you have. It is casting a vote for that identity that you are embodying. You could either keep repeating the cycle and keeping things where they are in your life. You can keep casting a vote for the past version of you, the current version of you, by continuing to make the same choices, or you can choose differently and decide that things are going to be different. So that is kind of from a high level what this Life is a Festival framework is. If I were you and you were like, man, Aid, that seems like a lot, right? I would just start with the vision and just start getting curious about what your life can look like off the dance floor so that you can stop escaping them and you can start to feel really good in your day-to-day. That's the number one thing I would start with, is like getting really excited about the vision. And then all the other stuff can kind of come along. You can start making intentional actions of like, okay, I don't like my job. I'm going to start looking for a new one, right? Okay, I don't feel great about this friendship. I'm going to start distancing myself. Or I'm looking for my next relationship. Okay, I'm going to start putting myself out there and meeting people so I can find my next relationship, right? And taking these intentional actions. And I think the biggest thing is that you have to treat your life like it is a castle and you are building it brick by brick. And it's going to take time, and there's going to be times where you're just focused on one area, and that's okay. I think a lot of the times we think we need to do it all, be it all. I said that now. That was like 5 years in the making for me to feel like, okay, I can be it all, do it all, and all that. But if you're at this starting point like me, like back when I was first starting this journey out, like I really focused on self-love and like really focused on that. Then there was a time where I was really like going in on my fitness journey, starting that. Then there was a time where I was starting my coaching business, went all in on that. Like I focused on things slowly but surely over time. And even with my goals, I use festivals as like my goal markers. So like my goals between now and Arc Music Festival really is just dialing in on my routine, starting my new job, and I'm really just focused on my coaching business. Like it's really those two things. And yes, I'm doing other things and maintaining other things, but those are kind of like the main things that I really care about. So my invitation for you, some of you might have already seen this, but I am creating a community like nothing we've ever seen. It is a membership, and I'm inviting you into it. If you want to be a founding member of this membership where you get to really help make it into what it is not just another membership, by a coach. It's not just another membership for, ravers and festivals. It's not just another community. This is going to be a very impactful membership because I truly believe us as ravers and festival goers, we are here to change the world, truly, because we know what these spaces feel like to be so inclusive, to be expressive, to be filled with love and acceptance and all these wonderful things. And if we all collectively come together and are helping ourselves and growing ourselves, it just ripples out and raises the vibration of the community and the collective. And I think we can do some really amazing and powerful things. But it also comes with tending to ourselves and our own lives first. And that is why I have created the Life is a Festival membership. I actually had Life is a Festival as a group coaching program back in 2022. My OG girls, they know they were in that program. And it's now a membership, and I'm really excited about it. You get to become a founding member of it. And we start the first week of August 4th. We'll have a kickoff call August 5th. What this membership really looks like, right? Let me just have my notes up here of everything. But this membership is really designed for you to be able to drop in and just really learn. And this is really for you if you feel the high of being your higher self at festivals, but you really crash hard when you come home. You feel like you're on the autopilot feeling, the floating through life kind of feeling, and wondering if this is really it. And if any of this episode really spoke to you, like this is going to be for you, because you might have this like inner knowing you were made for more, but you have a hard time maybe knowing on how to execute it. And you just want to wake up with those butterflies you get on rave day and just feel it really every day. And so I'm really just kind of here to help you have that glow up beyond the dance floor in this space and in this container, and just really being able to call in, that fulfilling career, that dream relationship, the overflowing bank account, your dialed in habits, whatever it is, right? Like I want that for you, and I want you to feel like you can have it all and that you can feel really on top of your life. And so what is really included in here, just so I don't miss anything, I have a Life as a Festival course. It is going to be dripped out to you as a founding member starting on August 4th. And you are going to get a weekly lesson every single week that dives into my Life as a Festival framework. And so slowly but surely, you're going to be able to make these shifts and have the accountability and support from me as you start to integrate. And I can provide personalized coaching. We'll have a Telegram community space where I'm able to support you inside of that. And we also will have 2 calls a month, as well as some other pop-up calls and things. But those calls will be hot seat coaching, where I'm able to just really provide that support to you. We'll even do intention setting for festivals and other fun little activations like that, which I'm super pumped about. Quarterly masterclasses, where if there's a certain topic or focus that we want to dive into, I'll be able to dive into it, have guest speakers, things like that. But this is meant to be a membership where we really are in it together. We're locked in together. We grow together, and really calling in this community of ravers and festival goers who are ready to just like take it to that next level. And I can integrate, human design. I'm going to have a meditation hub. You get access to my festival intention setting bundle, and just really be able to provide that support for this journey that you're really on. And so what you'll really get out of this is being able to create that clear and exciting vision for your life, build very aligned routines that energize you and support your goals. You'll feel like you're able to really follow through on your intentions and habits and creative projects. So you might be able to uncover what you're passionate about and your purpose and how to really pour into it. Being able to develop a really consistent mindset practice and really be able to work with that, I think is super key, and just be able to feel more confident in expressing yourself, and really being able to shift out of those festival lows and start to feel like you are able to enjoy your time on the dance floor as well as your time off of it, and diving into how to prepare for festivals very intentionally, which I'm super excited to share more about. And then something I saw with the Summer of Yes community that I just had is like being able to be on the same journey as people, and like being able to feel like you're not alone in this journey, and being able to like work towards these things and have a community that really supports you through all of that, and just being really able to step into that next level version of you and that life that you really want, and that you're really yearning for. And so I'm really excited about all of this. Like I said, we start August 4th. The pricing for it's $22.22. I wanted to make this the most accessible and affordable way to work with me. And so if you want to become a founding member, you can join at that price. The price will go up the day we start on August 4th, and then it will even go up probably by the end of the year. So if you are even just curious, like just give me 1 month, give me 1 month of your time. If you're able to just tap into the Telegram community, come to the calls, I will record those calls, and the calls will be at a time that will hopefully work for people, because I know people have 9 to 5s and everything like that. But give me 1 month, and let's start to create your life as a festival life. You can cancel at any point. This is just one of those communities that it's just always going to be open. It's always going to be there. But if you're really feeling that nudge, like there's no time like the present. I feel like a lot of us are shifting out of things, whether it's relationships, jobs, and we're just needing that like direction and guidance. And like, I'm here, how I view my coaching is like, I'm not up here and you're down here. Like, we're really just here. And I'm here to just kind of like guide you along. If you're watching on video, you see what I mean. But I'm really just a few steps ahead, and I'm really here to bring you along with me. Like I said, it took me 5 years, I feel like, to build this life as a festival life, and I'm so grateful for it. But I can probably have you do that in a way quicker amount of time, because when you sign up for coaching with me, you will be activated and you will be guided, and you'll be able to go at the pace that you need to go at. And I'm just here to support along the way. So that is my invitation to you. Of course, if you love this episode and you heard the little teachings and guidance that I had, feel free to go try it on your own, see where you get. I'll always be here to support. But Life as a Festival membership is waiting for you. And we already have a couple members inside who I'm super excited to support. And this is open to anyone, all inclusive, not just women, open to anyone. So male, female, non-binary, whoever. If you're ready to create that Life is a Festival life, we're here to welcome you with open arms. And I'm just really excited to see what's to come from this because, yeah, this is everything with all my teachings and everything that I've poured into going into this really amazing and affordable and accessible place for people. And I will still have my one-on-one coaching, my human design readings, all the things, but this is really my community space, my membership, my baby that I'm just really excited to grow with you inside. So all the details, how to sign up will be in the show notes in the description. But I'm super excited to welcome you. If you have any questions, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, send me an email. You can fill out the contact form on my website. Like there's so many avenues to reach me if you have any questions about the membership. But that's really my invitation to you. Of course, I think about like, oh, I need to have my cards ready for the episode. Let me grab my cards and let's wrap up the episode. But Life is a Festival membership, doors are open. You have time to join until August 4th. Then the price will go up to $44.44. So let me grab my cards really quick. Okay, let's complete the episode. Let's all take a collective deep breath in and exhale back out. Oh, man, that felt really good. It feels good to finally have it out and to share this message that has been on my heart for a very long time. In terms of our messages for the week that I can leave you with, let's spread this out and I'm just going to pick a card. Ooh, affirmation for this week says, I am valuable. Many people are thankful for my presence in their lives. I am valuable. Many people are thankful for my presence in their lives. Beautiful. In terms of higher self, let's see what she has to say. Ooh, I don't know who needs to hear this. Higher self says, thank you next. You guys, anytime this card has come up, I have had clients go through breakups. Truly. So I don't know if anyone is going through that or needs to do that. But also, we can say like, thank you next to this life that's unfulfilling and that we're settling for, right? Like, thank you next to that. I don't know, kind of hits. Thank you, higher self. Healing Waters deck. Let's see what comes through for us here. Dee-dee. Ooh! It's clear waters, clear vision, confirmation, right timing, and opportunity. If any of you guys are thinking about Life as a Festival, I promise you this was a blind card pick. But that seems like a confirmation card to join Life as a Festival, if you ask me. Okay, let's see what... Okay. Everything's coming together and supporting you right now. Potency is present. Alignment has arrived. Potential is here. The waters before you are crystal clear, and what you're stepping into is of the highest potency. You know the way forward. There are clear seas ahead. Keep facing your true north and proceed onward. This is a wonderful card with a very positive message. It suggests that something's coming into your life that's a great big yes, or you've been working on bringing things into alignment and are stepping into that right now. A creative project, a new relationship, a new home, a new phase of life. Whatever it is you've been manifesting or longing for, it seems that you're clear about what you want and it's coming to fruition. This card comes with positivity, confirmation, and a lot of promising potential. You're supported on your journey and everything's opening up for you. Keep your gaze ahead of you and don't get distracted by what others are doing or by other things you could be doing. You know what to do and have been working for this for a long time. Enjoy this moment, embrace the clarity and the vision, and receive all that you've created and will continue to create for yourself and the world. Life is a festival, you guys. Life is a festival. My camera is blinking, so I'm going to quickly wrap up this episode. If you guys have any questions about Life is a Festival, go to the show notes, click on the link, and you can also shoot me a DM, send me an email. But thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, all the things. I love you guys so much. Have a very vibey week. I hope to see you inside Life is a Festival, and I will see you guys for next week's episode. Bye!